Hi there, and welcome to Talking About This episode 64. What I find is that about every 2 weeks I come across a piece of media that's just so compelling I can't help but do a show. So I probably this will be about a show that happens twice a month. Um, this in this case it was I saw the movie Inconvenient Truth, and I mean, if there's a message that needs to be passed on to people, that's the most amazing one. I mean, I'm looking for precedents in history, going back through time and trying to find periods where there was like a global emergency going on and there was total human denial. Everybody is denying it, and I think of thalidomide. I mean, there's this period in history where, you know, a bunch of babies had already come out with like no arms or legs, and doctors were still prescribing thalidomide. There's probably a few years there where all the evidence was there, but it hadn't actually come around, and people had actually grasped the issue. And or another example is Lysenkoism in Russia. I mean, Lysenko was a science administrator in Russia who said that biology would evolve so that coats and shoes would grow on trees, and it was so important. It was such a dogma in the government that documents were changed. Things were crossed out of documents to redefine science. And there's a very similar thing going on right now, where with Lysenkoism in the Bush administration, where science is being denied and truth is being changed. I mean, in the movie, there's this one quote where he says, there's like an advertising company or something that's working for the oil companies, and it says their mandate is to reposition theory, or no, reposition fact as theory. And I'm like, it just kind of struck me as what's really going on. I mean, this is a very, very serious issue, and I really, really encourage you to go see An Inconvenient Truth and check it out, because I mean, some of that stuff's so compelling. Have you ever seen what are those things called? Glacier shots. Yeah, those glaciers. That's amazing. I mean, they've got all these before and after shots of glaciers in there, and it's quite wild. I mean, there's anybody without a real need to deny it for financial reasons or something is going to look at those glaciers and going, this is very clear evidence of warmth. And I mean, right now everybody in UK is going to be agreeing with me because they've had really weird weather for the last 2 or 3 years. And when the scientists reacted, there's like in the movie, he kind of quotes, 100% of the scientists agree, but then you look at it and there's been a random selection of scientific papers, but and then he looks at the popular press and it's only like 50% of people agree. So the popular press is extremely manipulated. But the scientists, when I read an article today, check this article out, and it was the scientists, one of their points was the Hurricane Katrina was maybe, it's not totally agreed upon that that's a greenhouse effect, but I really want that there should be some evidence in America that's as compelling as, say, in Canada here, where in our province the two largest industries are fishing and forestry, and forestry has just gone crazy because of the pine beetle, because there's trees dying everywhere because they don't freeze out in the winter. And fisheries, I mean, this year we had one of the best the best runs of sockeye we've ever had, and none of them spawn because the river's too warm. So all these fish are going by the fishermen because the fisheries department can't let them catch them because they need as many to spawn as possible. Who's actually thriving in that is the bears. The bears are actually quite happy because all the fish are still running up the river. They're just not spawning, so there's all this food around. Anyway, yeah, check out the movie. It's really great. I can't urge you enough to see this movie because it's so important.